Tonight, new lockdowns across the country. Oregon and New Mexico announced 2-week stay-at-home orders. One state calling up the National Guard, another governor testing positive, and the dramatic reversal on masks in North Dakota. Hospitals pushed to the brink. In Wisconsin, every hospital approaching capacity. Across the country, healthcare workers overwhelmed.
We didn't sign up for an unknown pandemic with limited resources.
The city now using mobile morgues, and the elementary school now a makeshift hospital. The March on Washington in support of President Trump, and the warning from the Biden transition team that the White House's stonewalling puts Americans at risk amid the pandemic.
We are really in a national security crisis.
New retail rules. Walmart now limiting the number of people allowed in its stores. The major change at Costco, and why some shelves are empty once again. The extreme measures some families are taking to celebrate Thanksgiving together. Would you ask your whole family to get a COVID test? Final countdown. The 4 astronauts ready to launch into history, and why the billionaire founder isn't allowed to attend.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. Tonight, the nation sits at a tipping point. The number of COVID cases is skyrocketing, forcing governors and mayors to reimpose drastic lockdown measures. And the next few weeks may be the most challenging yet. The weather's going to get colder. The pressure to attend a large gathering will only grow as the holidays approach. And at the highest level of government, the current administration is complicating a smooth transition to the new. Our understanding of how to battle this disease has strengthened, but public health officials fear our will to fight it has weakened. We have all the angles covered this evening, and we begin with Kathy Park.
Tonight, more states reaching breaking points as a coronavirus pandemic hits new highs. The U.S. reported more than 100,000 daily cases for the last 10 days. Oregon and New Mexico announcing a partial lockdown, urging residents to stay home for 2 weeks.
If we don't act right now, we cannot preserve the lives, can't keep saving lives.
In North Dakota, after months of resistance, the governor now mandating masks, following another day of record infections and hospitalizations.
Our situation has changed, and we must change with it.
In Nevada, where daily cases also surged to record levels, the governor announced he's tested positive for the virus. Idaho is rolling back its reopening, limiting indoor and outdoor gatherings, and mobilizing the National Guard to help overwhelmed hospitals. In Chicago, residents are being told to leave their homes for essential needs only starting Monday. The advisory lasting at least 30 days. And in New York, Governor Cuomo is clamping down now, even with one of the lowest rates of virus spread in the country.
We believe we're going to have to be taking additional steps.
This weekend, he's joining Northeast governors for an emergency summit after ordering bars, restaurants, and gyms to shut down for a 10 p.m. curfew. The new rules prompting fear.
The future, it's very disconcerting, to be honest.
And frustration.
Small businesses, they've already been affected. It's pretty ridiculous, honestly.
The U.S. has averaged 1,000 deaths every day this month. The city of El Paso now using mobile morgues to hold the dead.
So it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And then I don't know how far along until we do something drastically.
But coronavirus survivors offer light during these dark days. Patty Riddle is COVID-free after 35 days in a coma.
We're working on stair steps now, but yeah, I'm supposed to be released here by the 24th.
Just in time for Thanksgiving, a holiday holding new meaning this year.
And Kathy joins us now. Kathy, New York City schools, the largest in the nation, on the brink of shutting down again.
Jose, that's right. If the positivity rate reaches 3%, that means all learning goes remote. And today the number reached 2.47%. So the mayor warns that closures could happen as soon as Monday. Jose?
Kathy Park in New York, thank you. The relentless surge in COVID cases is forcing some healthcare workers to make unimaginable decisions over who gets life-saving medical care. Many in the hardest hit areas are exhausted and afraid, and their hospitals now running out of room and resources. Megan Fitzgerald reports.
Tonight, hospitalizations across the country are facing a crisis like they've never seen before.
It's a feeling of dread because we know what is coming.
The country setting a record for hospitalizations on Friday, the fourth day in a row, over 60,000. In just the last month, COVID hospitalizations in Illinois have nearly tripled. ICUs are quickly approaching capacity. Medical workers scrambling to keep up with the surge. And doctors like Michelle Prickett say healthcare workers are at a breaking point.
Everyone feels like they ran a marathon and now we're being asked to do an Ironman, and we're just tired.
Hospitals across the Midwest are being crippled by COVID. In Wisconsin, doctors and nurses are now forced to prioritize care, and they're running out of beds.
I never thought as a healthcare provider that I would be in the position of trying to decide who gets life-saving medical care and who doesn't. That kind of stuff isn't supposed to happen in the United States.
Hospitals under strain from coast to coast. In Pennsylvania, an elementary school gymnasium is now ready to be an overflow hospital. In Montana, health officials say they don't have enough staff to support rural populations. Utah healthcare workers overwhelmed by patients are forced to activate their surge plan, calling on New York nurses they helped in the spring to help them now during their darkest days.
A battle is easier won together, and it is the circle of trust and support that has kept us going.
Nurses are now begging the public to help them, asking the country to cancel Thanksgiving plans.
We didn't sign up for an unknown pandemic with limited resources, and it's very selfish to make that decision when there are people working really, really hard to keep you safe.
A warning from the front line that quarantine fatigue doesn't compare to the exhaustion inside the ICU.
And Megan joins us now from Los Angeles. Are they considering any new restrictions there?
Well, Jose, the mayor says it's a possibility if cases continue to rise. California just surpassed 1 million cases, and here at Dodger Stadium, they're testing thousands of people a day to try and stop the spread. Jose?
Megan Fitzgerald in Los Angeles, thank you. We turn now to politics and the president making more baseless claims about the election being stolen from him. Today, thousands marched in the streets of Washington, many echoing his unfounded statements. Kelly O'Donnell is at the White House.
Today in Washington, Trump supporters gave the president one thing that tees up bragging rights: a huge crowd. Wrapping themselves in patriotic colors, but gathered here to reject the outcome of the election, echoing the president's false claims of fraud.
It's not over, Mr. President. We won't let them cancel our votes.
We know this election was stolen.
A brief frenzy of celebration as the president's motorcade did a slow drive-by through the crush. Social media posts captured his reaction. The president, who refuses to concede defeat, headed out to play golf, while his supporters vented anger and frustration on his behalf.
And we're never going to accept Joe Biden as the president of the United States.
Today's event attracted men wearing the colors of the far-right extremist group Proud Boys, known for advocating violence, but also families with children and supporters who traveled long distances to see what they called history.
To show Trump we support him and love him.
But as they march to the Supreme Court, at least some admit this could be a farewell to the Trump years when Joe Biden's victory is certified.
We are not going to believe it, by no means, but we'll accept it.
Kelly joins us now from the White House. Kelly, the president has a new leader for his legal efforts.
Jose, it's Rudy Giuliani who tells us he'll be taking over the litigation team after another Trump advisor contracted COVID. Giuliani says he'll be filing additional actions in the coming week. But so far, nothing the Trump team has put forward provides enough evidence to overturn the Biden result. Jose?
Kelly O'Donnell at the White House, thank you. We know more tonight about President-elect Joe Biden's plan to fight the COVID crisis. His team moving ahead despite the Trump administration efforts to block that progress. Jeff Bennett now on the dangers of these delays.
A Saturday morning bike ride for the president-elect and future First Lady.
Good morning.
Joe Biden spending the day with family in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, his first break since winning the presidency. as his transition team pushes forward in the face of an unprecedented effort by the outgoing president to block a smooth changeover. With President Trump still refusing to concede, the Biden transition team is shut out of the current administration's pandemic planning.
This is really like we're at war with the virus. If we were in the middle of a world war at this point, I cannot imagine that the current president would not be handing over the reins and providing really what is security intelligence.
Until the Trump administration formally recognizes Biden as president-elect, outgoing Trump officials can't share critical COVID vaccine distribution plans with the incoming Biden team.
The sooner we can get our transition experts into meetings with the folks who are planning that vaccination campaign, the more seamless the transition from a Biden presidency to a Trump presidency can be.
In the meantime, Biden advisors have been working on their own plan to mass distribute a COVID vaccine. Sources familiar tell NBC News, including making sure that retail pharmacies like CVS and Walgreens have the staffing and supplies needed to vaccinate millions of Americans.
We are moving forward with our planning because this is an emergency and we need to be ready to go on day one.
And Jeff joins us now from Delaware. Jeff, can we expect more staffing news from the president-elect in the coming week?
We can, Jose. Campaign sources tell us that Joe Biden will likely announce more executive staff positions next week with the goal of rolling out 10 to 12 names by Thanksgiving, the pandemic remaining a key focus for the Biden transition. Jose?
Jeff Bennett, thank you very much. After a 24-hour weather delay, all systems are go for tomorrow night's SpaceX launch in Florida, though there is a new complication after SpaceX CEO Elon Musk announced he tested positive for COVID. Here's Tom Costello.
Poised for a Sunday night launch, the Falcon 9 rocket and a spaceship its crew has dubbed Resilience. But after SpaceX CEO Elon Musk tweeted he tested both negative and positive for COVID, NASA quickly ensured the crew was safe and announced Musk would not be allowed on site for the launch.
If any of those protocols have been compromised, then we're not going to let you near the crew. And again, it's to protect the overall mission that we're trying to accomplish. And everybody recognizes that. It's no surprise.
We're ready. We've spent the last couple of weeks kind of fine-tuning our training.
The astronauts themselves have been social distancing and under quarantine for 2 weeks ahead of their 6-month mission on the space station. Commander Mike Hopkins, mission specialist Shannon Walker, Japanese astronaut Soichi Noguchi, and pilot Victor Glover, the first African-American astronaut on such a long-duration assignment.
This will be your first trip into space. How are you feeling? Are you a little nervous?
I'm excited. You know, we train so much that I don't get time to be nervous.
This 4-person crew, the most to launch from U.S. soil since the shuttle retired 9 years ago.
Go NASA, go SpaceX.
Coming just months after the successful SpaceX test flight last summer. One concern tonight, that thousands of spectators could create a super spreader event. NASA encouraging crowds to social distance and wear masks. Tom Costello, NBC News.
Up next, the new pandemic shopping rules. Why Walmart is now restricting how many people can enter its stores. And we're back with the country's largest retailer, Walmart, imposing new restrictions on how many customers can enter its stores. Blaine Alexander has details.
With COVID cases around the country going up, many retail stores are working to keep the crowds down. Starting today, Walmart will begin counting customers who enter and exit the stores out of an abundance of caution, the retail giant says, a way to keep capacity at no more than 20%. And at other big-name stores, more changes. At Costco, customers with a medical condition were once exempt from the store's mask policy, now required to wear a face shield to enter.
I'm just very careful, and I just won't go in someplace if it's crowded or if it doesn't feel safe.
The changes come amid scenes like these, shelves stripped bare. A reminder of the panic buying in the early days of the pandemic and triggering many of the same precautions. Remember those limits on products like toilet paper and sanitizing wipes? Well, now Walmart, Kroger, Wegmans, and Publix are once again capping how much customers can buy.
A lot of this is happening
as we're in the height of the holiday season. It's kind of a crazy time of year for the retail industry to be facing this.
Gone are the days when holiday shopping looked like this. And while many of us have gotten used to this new way of shopping, it will likely change again. Now, some stores are putting Black Friday deals online early, hoping to salvage sales this holiday season.
Do companies stand to possibly lose out on some of the shoppers and the holiday rush this season?
I think there's an appeal in going to a store and you often throw some extra things in your cart just because more sales are shifting online. That does not mean retail is going to struggle because we're going to see pretty incredible online growth.
And Blaine joins us now from Atlanta. Blaine, some states are setting capacity limits.
Yeah, Jose, your shopping experience really could vary from state to state. For instance, in Minnesota, retail businesses are allowed to open at 100% capacity as long as there is a COVID safety plan in place. But in Chicago, officials there are enforcing fines as high as $10,000 for any businesses found to be in violation of the area's capacity limits. Jose.
Blaine Alexander in Atlanta, thank you. Still ahead, would you test your entire family for COVID if it meant Thanksgiving together? And we are back with breaking news. Today, a federal judge ruled that Chad Wolf was not lawfully serving as acting Secretary of Homeland Security when he suspended DACA. DACA protects undocumented children brought to the U.S. from deportation. It is unclear if this ruling will permanently overturn DACA's suspension. Public health officials are sternly warning against large gatherings this Thanksgiving, but some people are taking extreme safety measures to be with their families. Here's Ann Thompson.
This year, Lisa Tyrone's Thanksgiving dinner will have a few new trimmings.
Everything will be disposable that we'll be using this year. We have hand sanitizer, I have the disinfectant spray, I also have hand wipes as well.
Trying to keep COVID away as she hosts 14 family members at her New Jersey home, even as public health officials warn that any large gathering puts everyone at risk.
Are you asking your guests to get tested?
I'm not asking them to get tested, but the week before I am asking everyone just to kind of lay low. I'll take everyone's temperatures when they come up. I have a digital thermometer, so, it's family. So if I have to kick them out, I kick them out.
For the Terrell family in Pennsylvania, testing is a must for their 16 guests.
The kids don't fuss about taking those tests because they want mom's cooking.
If we know that we've all taken a test and it came back negative, and we're just going to have a good time.
But medical experts say even these extreme measures may not be enough.
If it's not virtual, it's not foolproof and it's not completely safe.
A new survey from Ohio State University finds Americans are determined to celebrate together, with 2 in 5 saying they will likely attend a gathering with more than 10 people. So how to lower the risk? Give your guests plenty of space, including separate tables for family groups, and open the windows.
You have to have adequate ventilation in an interior space, bringing in as much exterior air as possible.
Hosting the holidays outdoors is another idea, and giving an unexpected lift to Bob Costa's tent business near Boston.
The most common question that comes now is, can you cover my deck? And if it's cold, can you heat it? And we can do both.
Hopefully it's a beautiful day.
Lisa Tyrone is giving her guests options. Eat outside or indoors with air filters and open windows.
Is all this extra work worth it? Yes, definitely. I would go to the ends of the earth just to make it happen so we can all be together and be safely. Do this.
Desperate to be together in a most unusual year. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
When we come back, the inspiring swimmers making waves and creating new memories during difficult times. There's good news tonight about building community and breaking barriers.
You got to pause at the top.
For these women, every swim practice during the pandemic starts with getting their temperature taken.
Yeah, that's where it was.
Then it's a few quick stretches and into the pool. These are the Mahogany Mermaids, a U.S. Masters swimming club empowering women of color.
I learned to swim at the age of
48.
It's been a life changer for Tara Johnson-Drayton, one of the Mermaid's newest members. Now overcoming obstacles that sidelined her all her life, a brother who drowned, and her own severe motion sickness. With this group, Drayton knows she's learning to swim in safe waters.
Oh gosh, it's been so long. You don't feel like an outcast or anything. You're so excited to be here amongst other people who have the same similar goals and the same passion as you do.
The team's coach, Nadine Ford, started Mahogany Mermaids in Charlotte, North Carolina 6 years ago. Her goal, creating community, helping women get into the water with like-minded teammates who all feel supported.
It's them. That's one of the reasons they keep coming to, is they know they have it in them and they just need somebody to pull it out.
Even when COVID closed the pool for months, the team kept in touch. Now they're back.
Good job.
And having a blast. Nashira Waldron has been swimming since she was a kid. Now she's teaching her daughters. And grateful to be bonding with this special group.
We have the same goals. We motivate each other. There's no body shaming. Nadine has done a wonderful job getting Black women to come together and swim, which is not very, very prevalent. It's very rare.
Swimming side by side, competitors and confidants, going the distance together.
We're friends that happen to swim together.
Stroke by stroke, breath by breath, these women are overcoming fears, getting in shape, and having a lot of fun along the way.
Like my pastor says, be scared and do it anyway. It's just not a one-shot deal. This is going to be a lifelong journey for me. I made it.
And that's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. I leave you with a sign of the season. The Rockefeller Center Christmas tree arrived today. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and good night.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.